Students, this is our second video of today's class. Here we'll discuss another question regarding the object and functions of the central tendency. Here our question is, what are the objects and functions of the central tendency? So here two concepts are related. That means when you are asked to write down the objects of the measures of central tendency, then you have to write these points. Then again, if you are asked to write down the functions of the measures of central tendency, then also you have to write this point. So answer is same for the two concepts, that is objects and functions. Now I move to the first point. It represents complex, comprehensive and unorganized data into simple and condensed form. So the statement is long, but the explanation is what not so much complex for you. You see here, for instance, it is difficult to remember the individual income of workers in a factory, but easy to remember average wage of them. So what is the statement here or explanation regarding this point? That is, you are asked to remember the individual income of workers in a factory. So it is complex for us because individual wages are different for different individuals. Some individual worker may get higher amount of wage and some individual worker may get lower amount of wage. So it is not possible to remember all these things. So what should we do in such situation? If we go through the average wage, that means if we calculate the average wage of the workers of the factory, then it is simple to remember it. So ultimately, measures of central tendency or the average value actually simplify the complex and comprehensive data or are unorganized data. So it is the way of simplification of the complex data, that is comprehensive data and unorganized data. Again, you see, hence the purpose of average value is to represent the comprehensive and complex value into simple and condensed form. So why we actually take the help of the average value or take the help of the measures of central tendency? What is the purpose behind it? That it simplify or it represents actually the comprehensive and complex data in a simple and condensed form. That means it simplifies so that anyone can understand the fact easily. So it helps to, or it actually make easier the fact what we have given. It gives a bird's eye view of the entire data. So it ultimately gives us a bird's eye view of the entire data which is given to solve. So measures of central tendency, first point, that means it actually represents complex, comprehensive and unorganized data into simple and condensed form. That means the salaries or the wages earned by different individuals in a factories is complex data for a particular person. It may be a comprehensive data for the particular person or unorganized data for an illiterate or particular person. So ultimately, measures of central tendency and average value makes it simple and condensed form. That means it convert this complex, comprehensive, unorganized data into simple and condensed form. This is the theme of the first point, or it is the first subject or function of the measures of central tendency. So we move to the next point. It facilitates comparison. It is the next object and function of the measures of central tendency, or the average value. You see what is it? It helps to compare between two or more than two groups of data. The main purpose of this point is what main purpose of the measures of central tendency is what, that it helps to compare between two or more than two groups of data. That means when we are given simultaneously two or more series of data, then easily with the help of measures of central tendency or average value we can compare. That means measures of central tendency is single value. You calculate the measures of central tendency for the groups given to you. That means suppose you are given two groups or three groups, then for each and every group you find out the value of the measures of central tendency, and now compare these three single values or the measures of central tendency, value of the measures of central tendency, then easily you can understand this fact. For example, daily wage obtained by workers of a factory A and B are to be compared. In such situation, average wages of the factory must be determined. So, if we are given to actually compare the salaries obtained by workers in two factories, that means which actually factory gives more wage. So in such situation we have to determine the value of the measures of central tendency or the average value, and this average value ultimately helps us to know the better one. For example, A and B are two factories. You see the fact. So in factory A there are some workers, that means x1, x2, x3, x4 ... xn. Again in B, factory B, workers are y1, y2, y3, y4 ... yn. These are different workers in these two factories, and each of the factory worker gets different wages or salaries from the factory owner. X1 gets an amount of salary or wage from the factory owner. Similarly, x2, x3, x4 ... xn. N has no any definite number. It may be 10, 15, 20, 100, so on. Okay, so individually it is not possible to remember the salary or the wages earned by the individuals or the workers of factory A. Similarly, in B, these are the names of the workers or laborers, that means y1, y2, y3, y4 ... yn. Likewise, here also n has no any definite number. So if we are to be compared the factories wages of A and B, then what we have to do? That means we have to calculate the average salary or the wages. Suppose in factory A, average salary earned by the workers are 3,500 per month. That means although these workers get different salaries from the owner, but if we sum all the salaries earned by the workers, suppose, how can you do it? X bar is the average salary. For the time being we consider it. Then we have to sum the values of x1 plus x2 plus ... xn. These are the names of the workers, and number of workers is n. When you divide the total salary earned by all the individuals in factory A by the number of workers, then we get what? Average salary, and the average salary earned by the workers in factory A is 3,500. Similarly, if we calculate the average salary, this is the x1 bar and average salary of factory A, and this is the x2 bar, it is the average salary of factory B. And how can you calculate it? y1 plus y2 plus ... yn divided by n. That means salaries, total number of salaries divided by number of workers in factory B, and hence Suppose we get the total number of salaries are average salaries earned by workers is 3450. Now these two values, that means 3450 and 3500, can be comparable easily, but without this average value we cannot actually compare the salaries or wages earned by workers in two different factories. So average value or the measures of central tendency ultimately help us to compare the condition or the status of the factories, that means two different factories, so it makes easier. Therefore we can say that it facilitates, it means what, average value or the measures of central tendency facilitates comparison. That means with the help of measures of central tendency we can compare two or more than two series of data. It is also applicable when we are given more than two series of data. Next point is what, basis of the economic analysis. It is also one of the important objects and functions of what measures of central tendency. Now you see, it is of great significance in economic analysis. That means average value or the measures of central tendency has a great significance in economic analysis. That means it is helpful in analyze the economic facts. So if one knows the average productivity of labor in agricultural sector and industrial sector, then it becomes easy to analyze the sectors of an economy which is backward. So if anybody know the average productivity of labor in agricultural sector, generally there are three sectors in an economy: agricultural sector, industrial sector, and tertiary sector. Now in this example we are taking two sectors, agricultural and industrial sector. Now if anybody know the average productivity of labor in agricultural sector and industrial sector, then easily they can analyze the condition of the labor of the both the sectors. That means which one is better. That means whether the agricultural sector workers are enjoying better salary or better wage, and industrial sector labor is enjoying better wage. So it is possible due to the value of the measures of central tendency. That means average value or the measures of central tendency help us to know about it. I think you get the concept, and if you are not able to get the concept, then you can ask me personally my WhatsApp number. Number 4, it is the last point, last object and function of what measures of central tendency, helpful in policy formulation. That means different policy have to be formulated in an economy considering the condition of different sector. So every year government takes different policy throughout its budget. All of you know about the 5 years plans taken by the government in an economy. Again, government also takes what different budgets for the development of the country. It is known to all, I think. So average or measures of central tendency helpful in policy formulation in an economy. How? You see, for example, in the for the removal of poverty from India, our government should take into account per capita income, average productivity, then of labor, etc. So whether the country is backward or not, whether the maximum population of a country is poor or not, to confirm about it, the government should take into account some fact. That means government should measure the per capita income. Per capita income means the per people income, or it is the average income. How can we calculate the per capita income? there is a procedure like to show you. You see the procedure. How can you calculate? First of all, to know the per capita income, PCI implies per capita income or the per people income. To calculate the per capita income in a country, what we have to do, first of all, we have to know the national income. National income, I think you have the idea about it, income. And then you have to divide this total income of the country. National income is nothing but the total income generated in an economy from different sectors by the population of the country, population. So when we divide the total national income of the country, then we get the by the population, then we get the per capita income, and this per capita income is nothing but the average income. So this average income helps to know the poor, that means condition of the poor people, that means whether the people of the country is poor or rich. It can be confirmed with the help of the per capita income. Say for example, if the per capita income in the economy is $1050, so if this limit is less than the exemption limit, which is actually postulated by the world economy, then maximum of the people of our country is poor. So from this point of view, or from this per capita income, the value of the per capita income, we can know the condition of the people or status of the people, and then we formulate policy. Again, average productivity, it is symbolizes APL. APL means average productivity of labor. So how can you calculate it? First of all, you calculate the total productivity of the labor, TPL, and then divided by labor, then you get the average productivity of labor. If it is low, then government will try to make what policy, government will formulate policy to try to improve the APL in the economy. That means increase in APL, again increase in per capita income is the what symptom of what economic development. So in this way government used to, hence the government actually formulate different policies in an economy. So these were the 4 points of regarding the question, objects and function of economy, and you go through the video and I think you can get the concept. And if you have any problem that you get, or if you get any trouble in understanding the objects and functions, then you can ask me personally. Thank you.